So let's begin today by talking about, something serious that affects millions of people, including myself, every year, and that's mental health. So this week, four-time Grand Slam tennis champion Naomi Osaka made headlines when she decided to withdraw from the French Open. And to put this into context, this is arguably the best tennis player in the world right now, pulling out of what is an ongoing major championship tournament. So this is a bit of a big deal. So there's a reason why it made a lot of headlines and a lot of people really started talking about it. And Naomi Osaka cited her mental health as a reason for withdrawing. And early on, we saw a little bit of a sign of this early on in the tournament. She started making it known that she did not like doing media appearances after her matches, and those really took a toll on her mental health. And she's spoken very openly and very candidly about that, so I commend her for that. And she, at some one point, said that she no longer will be doing that. In response to this, the French Open started fining her $15,000 for missed media appearances, which Osaka initially was okay with the fine, but later there was talk of possible expulsion from the tournament. And at that point, Naomi Osaka essentially decided to just take care of her mental health and just move on and withdrew from the tournament. Now, there's been a lot of reaction about this online. There's been a lot of reaction about this in the press, in the media. And I just want to initially say that anytime an athlete, like it doesn't matter whether you're an athlete, doesn't matter whether you're a regular person, mental health is going to hit you. Like these issues, these concerns are going to affect you. So, and that's one thing I think as fans we always take for granted, right? We always take for granted like, oh, these athletes they're here for our entertainment, right? But remember, they're people too, and just like normal people, they go through normal problems. So these are things that she's facing, and she's facing head on. It seems like. It's worth to note that she came out with a very lengthy statement about her dropping out and her withdrawing from the tournament. And she said it wasn't just the press. It wasn't just because the press was being mean to her. She actually cited members of the press who were very cordial and very nice to her. And she says she just feels like when she does these appearances, when she does these post-match press appearances, they just put her in a situation where she becomes extremely uncomfortable. And as an introvert, she's not used to that. That's not something she is used to. That's not something she's comfortable with. And it takes a toll on her mental health. And I get that. I really get that. So I just want to initially say that I think anyone who's, blasting her or saying, like, man, she's this big, $1 million athlete, she has no reason to complain. No, that's pretty good reason to, not want to do something. If it affects your mental health, if you're stressed, if you're extremely stressed out about it and it affects you, off the field, off the court, then yeah, you should take that into account and you should take measures to, mitigate that. Now, I want to discuss the other issue here, and it's the criticism that she's faced from people who said that, she's overreacting. And while I understand, I guess, why people would think that, again, it comes down to doing what's best for you. And what's best for her right now is to withdraw from the tournament and just take things as they come and kind of reevaluate where she is, not just physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever, right? And that's normal. She can do that. At the end of the day, it's her decision to do it. Like, we have no control over that. And lastly on this, there's this big question that's been brewing because of this. And Steph Curry has commented on it and other athletes as well. And it's the question of, should athletes be forced to do press after matches or after games? And I find myself very torn on this because on one hand, I do understand the athlete's perspective, which is, being put in a weird situation where you're after a game, after, a really emotional time, like during matches or during games, you are kind of put into the situation where you have to answer questions about what happened and, right then and there, without having that much time to process what was going on. So I understand that from the athlete's perspective, but but for me, I kind of fall on this. I don't even want to say there's not really even two sides to this. I think this is just more of a nuanced topic for me. But I would say that when you become an athlete and you sign up for becoming a tennis player, you sign up for becoming a professional whatever athlete, right? When you sign up for that job, part of the spectacle, part of the job description is dealing with the media. And here's the thing. It's not just because of, it's not just because we want to pick these athletes apart. No. Because part of the reason that these big organizations, these companies, these sports leagues make these deals with the media for media appearances and whatnot is because it allows for the sport to grow. And so when you have all of these outlets, when you have all of these eyeballs on the product and in the post-game media scrums or the post-game media appearances, that puts eyes on the product. That's how people, get interested in the product. That's part of the spectacle. Like understanding the athlete's perspective after a game or what was going on during the game. That is an important part of sports that has honestly been there for a very, very long time. So while I will say I sympathize, right? That doesn't mean that, people that I think athletes should be, immune to media appearances. But one thing we also have to understand, and I think the other part of this that I've thought about is, like in any job, there are going to be times where you're faced with, opportunities or moments where you're not going to be completely comfortable. Like me right now, like an hour ago before I went here, I didn't want to come on and do this. I like you're tired. After especially after work all day or even at work. Sometimes you're given tasks that you don't feel comfortable to do that might stress you out. That might not be the best use of your time. But sometimes you still have to do them, and that's the other part of it. Now, where I think Osaka and Steph Curry have a point is this idea that the French Open can expel you for not dealing with the media, aside from fining you. If it was just a fine, like I granted $15,000 seems to me to be a lot of money to fine someone for per appearance. But if it was just a fine, I would probably be more okay with it. But to expel an athlete for not talking to the media, I think that's overkill. And I think just like how in work people have mental health days, I think that should be an option for athletes as well. It doesn't absolve you from every media opportunity, right? It doesn't like you can't skip everything, but I think it's up to the sports league and the athletes to work together on some sort of deal like this or some sort of compromise on this. And I think sports league should be more sympathetic because we've seen in the past it's been very, like just, oh, you don't want to do it? Well, you're fine. Well, we're not even going to talk about it. We're not going to discuss it further. And I think we need to have a more open discussion. I genuinely believe that. And that's me saying that I still think athletes should, be at media appearances, should make media appearances because it adds to the game and it makes people like interested. It's part of the spectacle as a fan. You're interested to know what, Patrick Mahomes was thinking in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. You're interested to know what Tom Brady was thinking in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. You're interested to know what Naomi Osaka was thinking during her match. And again, it's up to her whether or not she wants to share that information, right? So I think there just needs to be maybe more communication between the leagues and the players. I think the way the French Open handled this, to be honest, I don't agree with it because again, trying to expel someone from the tournament, especially one of your best players from the tournament, for not wanting to talk to media for mental health reasons, seems kind of shitty to me. But yeah, that is what it is. And again, to Naomi Osaka, I just want to say her comments were incredibly thoughtful and insightful. Like, I urge everyone to go out and read her statement on this. It was very thoughtful, very insightful, and honestly, like, it makes you think. It genuinely makes you think because she wasn't just, oh, well, no athlete should ever be forced to talk to media. No, she understood the media's role. And like to see someone like talk about it like that so candidly and so honestly, it's just it's very good to see, because you don't see a lot of, honest and candid talks or discussion about, especially like issues like these in the world these days, let alone sports. So, huge big ups to Naomi Osaka. I hope that she finds peace. I hope that she finds some sort of resolution to whatever ails her, because she's a great athlete. She's a superstar, and she deserves to be, her pain and her mental health deserves to be acknowledged, just like everyone else's does. So thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.